The future is looking bright for Tesla investors, and it's for a simple reason. Tesla isn't just promising new businesses anymore. Most of them are now at or nearing real maturity. EV manufacturing, energy, full self-driving, robotaxi, AI chips, Optimus. It's all converging at once. So what does the near future actually look like? What's the biggest risk that could derail the story? And how does SpaceX potentially going public change the game for Tesla investors? Could Tesla shareholders benefit? And which company ends up worth more, Tesla or SpaceX? We'll also revisit a question most people wrote off years ago. Could Tesla's Solar City acquisition end up looking genius in hindsight? And what does it mean for markets and public attention when Elon Musk inevitably becomes a trillionaire? Our guest today is Gali Russell, one of the earliest Tesla retail analysts, someone who watched Tesla survive the hard years. Now he's looking at the same company and seeing a very different kind of moment. Gali is the founder of Hyperchange, a financial talk show, and now running HyperGuap, a venture capital fund. Check out his YouTube channel, Hyperchange. Thank you, Gali. How are you doing?
Great. Thanks for having me, Herbert. Exciting day as Tesla stock has, been booming. So
Yeah, all of this intro, all the questions came from you. You've been rocking it. Your mind's been thinking. You've been doing a lot of shows on your own YouTube channel on these things, and so I can see that you're very pumped and also afraid. Like you're like going, contemplating a bit. My God, you are the master of hyperchange, and you're going. This change is happening a little too fast. Eh?
yeah, we're really in hyperchange.
You predicted it. Here we are, though. So let's get started with which of those topics are you most excited about? SpaceX or the biggest risk for Tesla?
Well, the one thing that's been on my mind a lot is this chip program that Elon Musk and Tesla have been working on. Elon, prior to this SpaceX IPO news, was deep diving into Tesla chips and Tesla's chip program, where they build their own chips in-house, specifically for their cars and their robots, but maybe even for AI, other kind of use cases in the future. And so I've this idea that Elon mentioned the AI 8 chip could be out of this world. And potentially even we were at the Tesla shareholder meeting, the talk of the Tesla chip fab. So I'm fast forwarding all of this information like, wait, so Tesla might be building chips that SpaceX launches into space to operate their space data centers. The most profitable, largest company in the world right now is NVIDIA, making chips with huge margins. It sounds like Tesla may be getting into that arena as well. Whether it's for their own internal use cases or not, but I think that's the development that's got me scheming is are Tesla and SpaceX actually about to really formalize some sort of partnership here?
Yeah, Brian Wang did this analysis, and he because I was so concerned, like, okay, well, SpaceX is going to make this massive business. Where does Tesla investors fit in? But Brian Wang said, actually, a data center in space, 70% of that will be because of the chips. So
Really?
if Tesla makes those chips, then we'll benefit big time. But then the question could be, would it make more sense that SpaceX and Tesla build a terafab together? That one of the reasons SpaceX is going IPO is to raise 100 billion more because they need that money so they can build terafabs, they can build data centers in space.
Well, SpaceX is going to have potentially more cash than Tesla. After this IPO, they could have raised like 100 billion or something. And I think that's what's kind of so interesting about watching this all play out is we don't know what the next move is. And I don't think Elon and SpaceX even really they want to fund Mars and make SpaceX a more stable company. And I think they're constantly adapting their plan, which is one of their strengths. So now we've kind of seen them pivot on a dime to take advantage of this data centers and space opportunity. And with the chip fab, it's the same kind of thing. Like, oh, it makes sense that for Tesla to build the chip fab because they need chips. But all of a sudden, if SpaceX is going to buy them, maybe SpaceX puts up some of the money. I think they're constantly kind of in this negotiation to see what works best. But Elon has promised Tesla investors access to SpaceX or some sort of benefit. I think he's personally going to do right some way. It will be hard to give investors like access to SpaceX directly. It's just very complicated, but some sort of partnership where Tesla benefits from SpaceX's success, I could see being a big thing, whether it's the chips or not.
Yeah, I'm happy that Tesla's finally getting into the data center space though, because XAI goes and builds the largest supercomputers in the world, builds a leading AGI contender. Where's Tesla? Now they're building their Cortex. They're building Cortex 2. Great. It's going to be powering the Optimus brain. But boy, I wish that we were in data centers, and now it sounds like that we are. So you've been following Tesla for so long, and I guess when you first started, right? It's like you saw it as an EV company, and then you go, oh, they're going to do batteries too. They're the energy company now. Then you go, oh, they're going to do autonomy now. And then now all of a sudden robots. So it's nothing new to you, right? I mean, and then when they bought Solar City too, let's talk about that because that's very interesting. What was your thinking at the time that they made that decision? What you're thinking now, and what do you think about the future?
Well, way back to the Solar City acquisition, I like panicked when it was announced because they were losing a
Mm.
ton of money. And I even like panicked sold my Tesla stock for a couple of months,
Oh,
I think. Because I
yeah.
was freaked out of like, wait, we're losing all this money. It's even riskier. And I think then I was excited about the potential of Solar City, but I think it honestly was a lot harder to scale. Roofs are unique. And so solar was really hard to deploy at scale profitably. So I think Tesla kind of shied away from that business. But now there's this potential resurgence with the space-based solar panels for these AI data centers. So Elon's
Yeah.
hinted at that, but I'm keeping a bit of cautiousness there because I've already been burned once getting excited about Solar City. But that's kind of always been a missing piece of the, the Tesla's always been about energy storage, energy consumption, energy production. The energy production with the solar panels almost feels like it gets ranked last just because it's the hardest to do and they're busy with other stuff. But I would love to see Tesla dive into it because I think clean energy is such a big part of the story. So that's another facet to this SpaceX partnership potential is can Tesla build something for the solar panels in space? So they've already confirmed the dune buggy moon sort of dune buggy rover thing. That's going into space built by Tesla. And then they also want to send a bunch of Optimists to be the first people to like help build Mars. So we're sort of seeing this bubbling up and convergence, as Elon would call it. Like I think I saw this one poster who posted like this data center in space. It's like SpaceX launches it, Tesla builds the chip, XAI is the brain. We have this convergence. And the one good thing, which you didn't mention, it's like, oh, Tesla missed out on XAI. But right now, XAI is losing billions. Like on the
Mm.
flip side, we're not spending and we're not losing billions now. That's a separate company. So there is some benefit to that angle of it too. But I keep coming back to this idea of convergence that's getting me very excited.
For every satellite that's going to be a data center, it's about a football field long length of solar panels needed, facing against the sun, free energy. So do you think that Tesla will get into solar panels? Like, so the question is, like, people ask me this question, and I've been big on this. Yes, I believe Tesla is going to do energy generation. There's going to be some sort of solar farm announcement that they've got on Earth, Saudi Arabia, Texas, massive solar farm. I think they're going to do that. Will they buy and build the solar panels? People say on me, no, China makes them. They're really good. Could they make the solar cells? What do you think they might do based on your knowledge of what they've done with Solar City, which is, to be fair, has been a failure?
I do think they have some sort of facility in Buffalo that builds the solar panels. So, I mean, honestly, this is above my pay grade. Like, I don't even think they've figured out this because whoever
Yeah.
gets this contract to build these solar panels is going to be a huge, huge contract. But they're also going to be penny pinching on costs. So maybe it does make sense to go with China if they're cheaper and more efficient.
Hmm.
That's why I'm not personally holding out on that part of the scheme. Are we seeing Elon Musk tweet about solar panel innovations? Is he meeting with the solar panel team? Like we haven't seen any of that, but he's constantly meeting with the chip team. So I'm more
Yeah.
confident that Tesla's cooking up something differentiated with chips than with anything
Yes.
else. And now
Okay.
this data centers in space is a way to monetize that chip um, capabilities. Like back to the adaptability. I think that's what's kind of happened is Elon Musk kept iterating these chips. He's looking at AI 8. I'm only on AI 4 right now in my car. And he's like, wait, like this could be used for inference, for training. We could put this in space. Like this kind of unlocks that Dojo-esque business that people have been thinking about for a long time. Like, which kind of became XAI operating these big data centers. But this idea that Tesla could rent out compute, maybe on its cars that Elon talks about. So in some ways, Tesla and Elon have kind of been dabbling with this like Tesla AWS kind of service and competitor for so long.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's kind of going to happen.
So you asked the question I saw recently. I want to know if you answered your own question, which is which company ends up worth more, Tesla or SpaceX?
Ooh, so it's a good one. I wanted to see what the people of X thought because just I'm curious. Because it's like SpaceX has always been the kind of little brother to Tesla for now in terms of valuation. But then all of a sudden they just announced the $800 billion tender. Now they're like 1.5 trillion IPO. That's the same price as
Which is
Tesla.
possibly June, by the way. People are saying
That's I heard
Ron
that. That
Barron.
would be
Ron
so
Barron said
exciting.
June
I mean, I think
because
they're
it's his birthday.
sprinting towards it. Like Elon doesn't once he commits, like they're doing it. I mean, Tesla has a near term Starlink is crushing it, and I think that's
Yeah.
worth a lot of money. So that's going to take off before the data centers and space business becomes even bigger for SpaceX. For Tesla, you have the Robotaxi. So then it becomes this race of Robotaxi versus Starlink, which is more valuable.
Mm.
I don't know. I'm actually bullish on both. I could see I don't think SpaceX is going to open for 1.5 trillion. I'm sure you've felt this. Like the amount of
It's gonna be 2 trillion.
requests for
Yeah.
people investing in SpaceX is
Yeah.
out of control. So
Yeah.
I think there's going to be so much demand for SpaceX. It might actually overtake Tesla for a little, but
Yeah.
in the short term, I think Tesla could make more cash flow from Robotaxi and Optimus. But then in the long term, this is what people are
Yes.
commenting, like in 100 years, SpaceX has got to be bigger. I mean, it's unlimited. It's space. Like, who knows what's going to be going on
Well,
in
it's
100 years?
free energy from the sun, and then AI data centers. Brian Wang again did a fantastic analysis. He did a show with me. He said that uh, AI data centers is as big or bigger than Optimus.
Yeah.
And
So that's what's crazy.
like what? How's that possible? We just finished telling everybody that Optimus is the single largest opportunity in the world.
We haven't even done
Oops.
Optimus yet, and now we're already disrupting it with a bigger.
But they, like you're saying, Tesla and SpaceX could actually be equally as big. But then most people are telling me that they think Tesla will, I think you just said it, it'll come sooner. This stuff with SpaceX could come later. Like, okay, when is a Terafab going to be built? It's not going to be next year, maybe 3 years from now or something like that. When is the data center going to be up and running? 3 years from now, all that. So
The data center and space business is actually interesting because Philip from they've already got
you
one in
interviewed him,
space,
didn't you? Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they
I
launched
mean,
on a SpaceX.
yeah.
So I don't think it would be that hard for Elon to he's probably scheming on this right now, like getting
Mhm.
engineers to build a prototype to launch something up to space. Like I think there's going to be an announcement soon. He's kind of
Wow.
keeping quiet right now. That's like, in a month we're launching our first data center in space, and everyone's like,
Wow.
whoa, like things are heating up. I think it's gonna happen quick because they're doing the launches already. They're selling the cargo. You can buy it like you're going on Amazon, kind of. That's always
Yeah.
funny talking to StarCloud. It's like, yeah, you just hit up SpaceX, put down 20 mil, and then
Press
you're
the
in
buy
the
button.
launch.
Schedule it. It's like a
Yeah.
what
So
else did he say? What is StarCloud's business? Because you interviewed the CEO. What exactly do they do?
they do what SpaceX is going to IPO for, data centers in space. So
Okay.
basically, they take an NVIDIA chip, some sort of fancy AI chip, put this crazy box around it so radiation can't affect it, and then
Mm,
build this crazy radiator to disperse the heat with solar panels. So
gotcha.
kind of spacify the chip and make it like a computer in space, which is
Yeah.
very hard. And interestingly enough, they moved to Redmond right in our backyard here because that's where the best satellite engineers in the world are.
Mhm.
Because they've got,
Well,
all these
Starlink is there.
Starlink is
Mhm.
there, Microsoft people is there. So apparently Philip, he's like, I hate Seattle. I just had to move because that's where the people are. I was like, I love this guy. He's just getting it done. He's like, I was like, well, how's Redmond? That must be a cute town. He's like, no, it sucks. But no, jokes aside, Redmond was fine. But it's just funny that he really was like, these are the experts in the world if we're going to
Yeah.
do this. So
Yeah.
he's got 20 engineers that are the best in the world at this. One of my Moonshot Mondays that I want to put out there is that OpenAI, Google, Amazon,
Mm.
NVIDIA, they might be trying to buy StarCloud because they're not worth that much right now. And then all of a sudden, you immediately get the technology to figure out how to do this. Elon's going to operate his cloud. OpenAI is not going to want to run on Elon's cloud. Google's not
No,
going to want to
they
rely
they
on. They're
won't.
going to all want their own clouds.
Yeah.
So, what's fascinating to me is this whole Star Cloud thing was such a kind of like I met it through a friend, Javier, and I meet
Yeah.
the Star Cloud CEO, and I'm like, this is really cool. But also, everyone I tell it to thinks this is such a dumb idea, like data center in space.
They don't get it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's so funny how now
Now it's
in
like
the
a
past
month
2
later.
months
Yeah.
Every tech CEO is saying this is what's going to happen. So I almost don't, but like, I'm almost like, what? Like, we all changed our minds that quick? But
Yeah. You are ahead of the game. You're right. So I was going to ask you that, but you answered it, which is would Starlink and Elon partner with StarCloud? Or no, they're going to do it themselves. Of course, they're going to do it themselves. And then, regardless, StarCloud's going to be successful because then there's all the competitors that will want it. Yeah.
yeah, it'll be interesting because people are saying like basically right now everyone's paying Nvidia for more compute, right? And that's why they have huge margins because everyone's bidding for more and more compute and Nvidia like owns the bottleneck to more AI. So now SpaceX might be the bottleneck. Well, if Tesla does the chips, that's a whole other angle. But the new bottleneck is going to be launching to space. So SpaceX is the only company that can launch. So all of a sudden, what happens to the price of that cargo? You have to, it's going to, the price could go up astronomically to get up there. And SpaceX has a huge monopoly on it. So that's the craziest part to me, I guess, to sum up why I've been so excited and scheming. I'm like, wait, SpaceX isn't even a space company anymore. They're an AI company. Like their biggest business is going to be AI data centers. They just happen to be in space. And so there's a very interesting dynamic that could start to play out there of like a bidding war for the payload, essentially.
Wow. I like the way you position things. You're very good at that. Wow. So SpaceX or Tesla, we think it's about equal. Solar City all of a sudden became important again. It's like Elon is like, yes, some of his stuff he does is a failure, but not everything that failed. Actually, he might actually end up be right at the end, right?
It would be funny if Solar City becomes a huge business out of nowhere. It would be epic.
You know what? I bet you that would be hilarious. Just for fun, Elon will call it Solar City just for fun, just to like say, screw you guys. It was the right decision.
Right? That's what the city in space can be called, the Solar City.
Solar City. No, okay. You know what? No. I've been. Do you agree with this? So I've been the only one standing on this. I said, okay. Master Plan Part 3 had three major pillars. Energy generation was number one. And what? Tesla doesn't do energy generation. They kind of gave up on the solars on roof stuff. You kind of see that they've pulled off. They canceled contracts with. Couldn't do it. They're going to announce a big solar farm somewhere in Texas or Saudi Arabia. Do you think?
Okay, I like this conspiracy theory or moonshot because I've kind of been wondering this too. Like, why doesn't Tesla just power a town to kind of
Right.
for press to prove that it can work, to kind of be
Yes.
like they
Right.
have a huge amount of cash. I think it's a low ROI move. Like inverse investing in technology, you're kind of investing in almost like a real estate project more, kind of like
Mhm.
return profiles more capped. If it's like you become a utility. They don't want
Yeah.
to, I think it's too, but I've kind of been wondering that. It's like, wait, like we're talking this big game about how many solar
Mhm.
panels can be fit in the desert to make the world green or whatever, like why don't we
Mhm.
start building that? So I think that would be really cool. I've kind
You just
maybe
don't think
Tesla.
they can make they will it's not enough of making money on it that's why they're not going to do it.
Yeah, it's just like you'd have to spend 10 or 20 billion and that would only be like one city and then that's all your cash and it doesn't have that good of a return and it's just like a new business. I think it's also
I
kind of
see.
like whatever Elon wants to do realistically. So if that's not and he's a little ADD in his own way or whatever with, bigger and bigger projects, if that's not the shiny thing right now, like it's out. So that's what Tesla's doing right now. Is
No.
everything kind of doesn't really matter except Robotaxi and FSD and Optimus. Everything else is kind of
Okay. I think that's the best argument I've heard against this at this point, unless there's a volume of scale. And it doesn't sound like it because it's already pretty commoditized now. Like if you can build even more solar panels for all, then you can reduce the cost, but it's not really the bottleneck.
yeah, and it almost feels like the bottleneck has been the Megapack batteries, right? And so they're selling a ton of those and moving the needle with those, like huge battery farms essentially for the solar. So that seems to have been their play for now, and that is a huge, awesome business for Tesla.
I think you
We've
just
almost
answered my
forgotten
question.
of that.
Yeah. You answered my question, which is instead of having a solar farm on Earth, Elon's going, am I going to reinvent the solar panel? Well, it's already kind of like, how much more can you get when you're getting tiny little rays of sun? But if I go closer to the sun, I don't need to reinvent the solar panel. I think you just answered my question. So yeah, okay, darn it. I'll lay off. Well, I might start laying off that one. Damn you, Gali.
Uh-oh, sorry.
uh, SpaceX and Tesla, solar panels, AI data center space. Big win for Tesla. No matter how you cut it.
Well, not no matter how you cut it. I think it's too soon to tell. Like this stuff is, I think, being decided in boardrooms like right now. Like who knows how the negotiations are going to go down? Is SpaceX even going to actually IPO? Like for this data center and space business, like this is a big bet the company moment, because if they start failing with data centers in space, that could be a huge setback for them. So I don't think it's 100% sure it's going to happen. And I think it's a very fluid situation right now, which kind of makes it is what's so exciting. We're one Elon post away from everything changing, and who knows what.
Okay. Let's move on from that one then. You had another post that I thought was interesting. When will Tesla's Robotaxi overtake Waymo? What's
So
your
this
answer?
is a good one. Yeah. Because it was the Ludlow guy from Bloomberg who said, "Oh, Waymo's at a 350 million ARR. They're raising at a
Right.
100 billion valuation." And then I'm crunching the
That's a
numbers here,
lot
and
of
I'm like,
money.
a
Mhm.
lot of money. And it seems like a big business, but it's not actually that big of a business, because Tesla in the Robotaxi launch, they were like beta.
Baby babies.
And it was, I think they did 1.25 million miles at $1 a miles, 1.25 million revenue, 5 million a year ARR in like their one, kind of beta test. So I'm like, on one hand, 350 million for Waymo and 5 million for Tesla. It's like, oh, Waymo's way bigger of a business. But it's like Tesla just got, like, the amount they turned it on is so eensy weensy. The fact that they're even already a blip in the millions, and soon, like, that's last quarter. This quarter, they might even be double or triple that. So I was kind of trying to extrapolate, when does Tesla cross Waymo? And it's difficult
Mhm.
because it's not 350 million. Waymo's booming. By the time Waymo crosses them, it's like a race to a billion. I think that's around where they're going to meet. Is And then Tesla's going, and then Waymo is going to kind of continue being more linear. Tesla will really scale to 10 billion much faster. So right now, I edited my tweet like 4 times before I posted it. I was like, they'll pass Waymo in Q2 of next year. Then I was like, probably Q3, probably Q4, just based on like how many cities and Waymo's growth. So I think like around a year from now, Tesla and Waymo will be the same size, and which will be double where Waymo is today.
Totally
You
disagree
don't
with you.
think so?
No,
You totally disagree.
totally disagree.
Wow. Okay. Because I thought that was a pretty middle of the road, not a little
Okay, well,
bullish, but not too bullish, but not too bearish.
wait. Okay. Okay, let's break it down. Waymo has how many cars? 2,500. Let's give them 3,000.
Let's give him 3,000. Yeah.
Let's give them 3,000. Okay, they've got 3,000 cars now, and they're charging more than Uber does. They're maybe charging $4 per mile, $5 a mile. Okay, so 3,000 cars, $4 a mile. And Tesla has. When will Tesla get to 3,000 cars? But because they're going to charge $1 a mile, let's call it $2 a mile. If they're going to charge $2 a mile, that's half. And so
Half
instead
the
of just
revenue. Okay.
3,000 cars, they need to get to 6,000 cars. When does Tesla get to 6,000 cars? Waymo has 3,000. That's it. And by the way, that 3,000 is what they had said that they'll have by the end of this year, because
Gotcha.
that's all the cars that they have that they got from Jaguar I-Paces that are in the what's that company's called? The Magna. A company called Magna builds cars for Jaguar. And then they actually, because they build the car for Jaguar, they actually are the ones that are uplifting the cars with all the LiDAR stuff. And then Jaguar ran out of business, or they didn't want to run, they didn't want to do the I-Pace anymore. So they just gave their 2,000 cars to Waymo. So 2,000 cars are sitting in Magna's facility waiting to be uplifted. That will be done by the end of next year. So that's why it's 3,000 cars that they have. But let's say that there are 5,000 cars charged, again, double. So 10,000 cars. When does Tesla get to 10,000 cars? It's going to be like the second half of this year. It's not going to be the end of next year.
So
Simple as
that's
that.
where I totally disagree, because the problem is not cars. Tesla's making millions of cars per year.
Exactly.
They could have more cars than Waymo in an instant, but that's not
Yes.
what's holding them back, is access to cars. It's city regulations, them figuring out
Well,
where to charge, them figuring out the safety, them figuring out what. So that's why I'm a lot more like, like I do not take Elon's word on the timing for these statements. Like
How
obviously I
many
listen
cars
to
do you think Tesla will have by the end of next year?
like
Where are you at?
I would have thought they would have massively expanded the fleet already because I'm going to sound bearish, but I'm playing devil's advocate here because I think it's easy to be like, oh, they'll be at 10,000 cars. But then it's thinking it through. It's like, okay, they've been at 100 cars since they launched and they haven't been expanding. Really, right?
Okay, well, what's your number? What's your number?
I think they're at like 130 cars or something.
No, I know. I'm saying the end of next year.
The end of next year, I think they're closer to 10,000, not halfway through the year.
And that's where I don't think it's much more than some people are saying 30,000, 40,000. No, but it's not going to be 10,000. And I think that the reason is that do you think Cybercab is going to be launched in April?
Yeah, but
Let's say June.
this is what's been confusing me because they're talking about how fast they can build Cybercab, but it's not about the speed of which like the rate of production isn't what's slowing down adoption right now, if that makes sense. Maybe that will be where once they remove
Well,
the
they wouldn't
safety
produce
driver,
it if you're right that there's adoption reduction or it's not enough. I don't agree with you because there's so many things to say here.
this is good. This is the drama that people want. But I'm conservative. I like to be conservative.
If all they had was they didn't go beyond Austin and give me Dallas and Austin because they can do any city, Dallas and Austin and California. That's it. They can do 10,000 cars. That's it. It's not a matter of, oh, I need regulation. I need all these other cities to open up. No, they can just do one city and go 10,000 cars. Now, if the reason I asked about Cybercab, they don't need Cybercab. They can just do Model Ys, right? That's not the issue. But Cybercab, if they could not fill it with 10,000 cars because of all the things you're saying, regulation, the infrastructure not ready, all that, then you don't want to start Cybercab production because once you start the production, you need to have at scale. You don't do a production of a line that's only doing 100 cars a week.
Totally.
You at least 1,000 cars a month, whatever. So that alone will produce 10,000 Cybercabs with or without a steering wheel. Doesn't matter, but they need to be out there making money, robotaxis. So otherwise they would have stopped. They would have said, no, we're going to launch production of that, not in April, but next year if that was the case. But okay, that's another point. But it's just model wise, 10,000.
So see, what you convinced me is not that I'm wrong. It's that Elon's guidance on Robotaxi production, Cybercab production is wrong. Because I'm like, you're right. They're not going to want to crank them out until, and even though they're saying April, it's going to start super slow. And they said April a month ago. So then it could easily get delayed again. Sure. But I don't know. That's an interesting point. That's what's confusing me is I'm like, maybe I'm just kind of skeptical until I'm proven wrong because I don't want to get too optimistic.
And that's fair. I know that's exactly the right way to do it. But if you put yourself on the other side of it, we could actually allow ourselves to be optimistic.
We could allow it. I mean, I'm on FSD 14 or 13, and it's amazing.
Yeah, you bought a new Model Y that has hardware 4. You're using the latest version of, right? You've now seen it. What have we been saying? You were in the car with me. We drove to Portland, everywhere in Portland. So that was an adventure. Hanging out with Gali is an adventure.
We went to the first In-N-Out in Washington. That was sick.
That was fun. It was worth it. But just sitting in traffic and there was an accident and we're like going, what do we do? Do we keep going or do we turn? And you made the executive decision. We're going to go right in order to go forward.
Herbert's range anxiety was palpable. We were showing up to the supercharger with 15%. He's panicking.
Well, only because there was a huge accident and it was like back-to-back highway and you were going, are we going to sit here for 3 hours? Anyways, okay. That aside, so everything could go right this year, 2026. Everything can go right. And if you watch multiple Tesla executives, not just Elon, multiple of them hinted at the fact that it's slow and then fast. It's autonomy at scale. They're all saying those words. That they've solved it. FSD solved. Okay, that part I don't think I'm debating anymore. And then you're saying infrastructure and all that. Well, guess what? every city, they have service centers, they have superchargers, they have the cleaning is not going to slow them down. They'll hire people. Yeah, I'm not ready to say what some people are saying, though. 40,000, that's too much for me. But 10,000 is too low for me. You said sub 10,000, right? No, you at the end of the next year, you might be at 10,000.
Yeah,
Anyways,
I think
to
that's a
be
bullish
higher than
scenario. Like
Waymo, you need
Tesla's
to be,
crushing
yeah,
it if they
yeah,
have 10,000 cars by a year from now. They'll be like,
yep.
you know,
So I think they'll pass Waymo. Pass Waymo would mean you're saying both cars and revenue.
yeah, I was thinking revenue, but either one is a big milestone, I think.
Okay. So yeah, I think it'll happen next year for sure.
Yeah, and it's fun to
10,000?
watch. Like, have you been
Yeah.
looking at those Robotaxi tracker websites with like
Yeah.
who has the most cars, who's got the most miles of radius? Like, it's fun to watch and it's exciting because it's like this business that's just about to be
Yeah.
like
I mean,
growing
when
forever.
Elon said, in retrospect, in hindsight, Waymo was never really a competition. Again, you've been jaded a little bit. You don't want to. It's just CEO talk.
Well, I think in the long run, Elon may be very right because of what you were saying with the Jaguar I-Pace debacle. Like when you get under the hood of Waymo, it's kind of like they're crushing it at what they're doing now, and it's super impressive. And they have the no safety driver. Like you got to give them the win where they get the win. You know, they have more cars on the road. They're doing it. They're probably losing a lot of money, but that's fair. But then talking to you about it, it's like, man, it is so hard to do the retrofit and like not own your own production. Like that is such a headache that makes them move super slow. So that I think in the long run is kind of like what Elon's saying. I think
Yeah.
the vertically integrated piece, which allows Tesla to have the cheaper cost, is
Yeah.
going to be totally game changing. Plus, their whole self drive is their software even safe? You know what I mean? Like, are they relying on lidar? Like, are they going to be able to be
Or remote drivers. Yeah.
full remote
I mean,
drivers?
that here's when I'll get bullish about Waymo is that, they announced that they have a partnership with Jaguar, they have a partnership with Zeekr, and then they have a partnership with Hyundai. But when they announce these partnerships, it's like, whoa, you go, okay, whoa, no, no, no. Listen carefully. Who's paying who? Waymo is buying cars from Hyundai. Waymo is buying cars from Jaguar. So it's like Waymo calls you up and says, "It's partner." And you go, "Oh, you want to buy 1,000 of my cars?" Yes. The day that it flips and Hyundai says, "Waymo, I'll give you my cars for free. I'll pay for the cars. You pay for the tech. We'll both make money." That's a very different scenario.
Interesting.
And then I was talking to this Walt Piecyk, who is a partner of Lightshed, and what they do is a research firm, and they actually advise autonomy. They research autonomy, and they advise other investors on which autonomous companies to invest in. This guy came away feeling like he is the most knowledgeable about the autonomous business because he's tried and been every company you can name. He knows them all. He said OEMs will not partner with Tesla because they're too big. Tesla's too big, and they'll be always beholden to them. But he also said that's why the same reason why they will not partner with Waymo. Waymo, Google's too big, and so these other OEMs will only partner with Wave or Comma or the little guys, and Rivian maybe buy their tech or something like that, but not
You
the
just
big
gave an
boys.
idea actually that
Yeah.
Google should buy Rivian
Yes,
because then they
that's
could
what's going to
actually
happen.
own their production.
Yeah,
I
let's do
like
it.
this.
Let's lay it down. It was said right here. It's going to happen. I agree with you completely.
I think right. That seems like it totally makes the most sense. Like,
It's
and
going to
plus, if
happen.
you're worth 100 billion, Rivian's worth 20 billion. You
Yeah.
get all the factories on the cheap.
The only thing that could make that really stupid, that logic is not right, is that why then did Google just now announce $15 billion raise? And so they if because obviously they're just losing so much money on Waymo, and so they raised 15 billion or whatever. So it's like it's odd that they did that.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what their move is here because it's like Alphabet's spinning it off, but not really spinning it off, but still investing in it. So they're kind of like distancing themselves from Waymo a little bit. which is a unique strategy. I don't know if we've seen Google do this with any business. Like, it's not like with their cloud business, they like let investors come in and spun it out, you know?
But I like the Rivian idea, because they're not only they have they're not only are working on an end-to-end neural network vision only program, but they also have, experience building cars. So take that. Yeah. Wow. Scheming with Gali. You also had a post on Elon being a trillionaire. Tell us what that was about.
So well, oh yeah. Well, I had a couple. I had one serious one and one joke one. My joke one was that now that he's not a billionaire, he will stop getting made fun of for being billionaires are evil. Like, he's a trillionaire. He's not a billionaire.
Not a billionaire.
Might be evil, but Elon's not one. He's a trillionaire.
Yeah.
Nah, but I mean, I think there's just a big kind of debate in society of like, a lot of people feel left out. Very few people can use technology to make huge amounts of wealth in a super short time, kind of unprecedented in history. And you just look at these numbers, it's easy to get convinced and hate someone who's like, why isn't he giving it all away? And then people don't really understand that it's like stock in companies he can't really sell. And, if it's just like Elon's like a nerdy inventor who just invented all these amazing technologies and had stock and a little bit of stock in these companies. And then the technologies were so successful, he became the world's richest person. Like, it's not like this, that's how I look at him, as kind of this nerdy inventor who just crushed it. And so we want more nerdy inventors to crush it in society, but I'm worried there's like I actually think the biggest risk to Tesla and SpaceX is like, okay, now Tesla's worth 3 trillion, SpaceX opens IPO at 3 trillion, Robotaxi's doing this, Elon's worth $1.5 trillion now, and it's like, Tesla and SpaceX are the two most world's valuable companies. Like, it just gets so extreme that I worry there's like a backlash. And kind of like a Luddite movement of people like so I posted all this, and the second I wake up today, I think, or maybe yesterday, it's Bernie Sanders talking about how we can't build any more AI data centers. So that's way better than I thought. I thought he was going to come on Elon for money, but
he will. He has been, and he will. Yeah, he will.
But it's the same sort of like kind of rhetoric where it's like, if we don't, it's the government. It says. It's just interesting as a technology investor when your technologies get so powerful that all of a sudden you have to consider like geopolitics and governments, because that's the stage we're on right now, which I never would have thought before. Like you're saying, like Tesla's the electric car company. Now look at where we are. And it's like, like, holy crap. Now our biggest threat isn't whether we're going to be profitable. It's whether like there's a revolt and like the government bans this because it's,
I think that's why Elon said that last year. He goes, I think I need to be in politics because exactly what you just said. Regardless, it's going to happen. He's going to be hit with this. Gali, you're one of the few people I admire for your future. You think about, you call it scheming. It's your fun word for it, but you really do give a lot of brain cells about what's going to happen in the future. You called both your YouTube channel Hyperchange, but also you have a venture capital fund, HyperGuap. It's all about the world is hyper changing. And so totally. I just had this call by my brother, just called me literally before the show. We recorded the show, and he asked me this question. I'm going to ask you now. And he said, like, he's like freaking out. He's going, okay, Tesla solved autonomy. And he's a big investor in Tesla along with me, but it's like it actually happened. Like he woke up one day and goes, it happened. Yeah, it's happened.
This is real.
So then he's going, okay, like, his mind's going forward now. He's going, oh my God, what's going to happen, right? How's the world going to change? How's the cities going to change? How's everything going to change? And he was asking me what I thought about it and which companies could you invest in that would this change? Like, what's going to happen to real estate? So I know you've given this a lot of thought. I mean, that's what your venture capital fund, sometimes you're picking up, but I think you're there for smaller companies. But when you think about the change in the world, how, yeah. It's hard to predict, but which ones would you?
Hard to predict. And exactly. And so that's why I would say bet on the thing making the change. Don't try and outsmart the change. Okay. I've gotten burned by that so many times where it's like, like he wakes up, Tesla's changing the world, they're solving everything. Like, that's the investment. Like, not like some derivative play. Although I did buy some real estate because I do think that blank land, there's going to be a total change in real estate once transportation changes, and there will be a lot of second order effects. But I think Tesla will capture the bulk of the
just value. For that thing, you're of the mind that if there's autonomy, people don't need to live near the city, and they can live bigger land, lots more land, that kind of thing. Is that what you're saying?
The problem is it's hard to predict. The
Yeah.
entire way cities are designed is around cars, and if cars are changing, then maybe the whole way cities are designed is broken. Like, and even with Seattle, I'm seeing like, or any big city, it's after COVID, it's like the downtown got deserted and kind of like taken over as this weird crime homeless zone, and then no one wants to really go back there, but the other parts of the city are doing well. And it's just that it feels like we're kind of, the city was built in a world that we don't live in anymore. Like, work from home, COVID. And so I think the what a city is might change. There might be new cities, new layouts. Or it's like, there's a random idea. My friend's building like a spa in Issaquah, like Brian Johnson kind of thermal sauna thing. And I'm like, dude, like,
hey, can I be a member, dude? Free
yeah, we
membership?
got to be members. Tai Chi
Dude.
Garden. I'm gonna make sure they put in the Tai Chi Garden for us. But I was like, maybe we'll actually go if we can Robotaxi there. And
yeah, you and I will go. Come on, man.
But so I think there's businesses, a lot of businesses will benefit from that are a little bit off the beaten path. Those businesses are going to get way easier to get to. So I don't know how to play that necessarily, but I do think Tesla, the company creating the change, is going to capture like most of the value. Like, I tried to invest in GTAT, this like screen supplier for like the iPhones back in 2011, because we heard that our friend's dad was working on this like cleaning crew in Arizona, and they worked at the cleaning floor of the GTAT facility, and there was all these glass shavings, so it had to be the iPhone, so they were going to announce this partnership, and it's just like all this time wasted when it was like, just buy Apple stock. So I've learned the hard way that you just, and all the value accrues to the brand. The second this glass company is making a little bit of money, Apple will just hire another glass company and squeeze the margin. So the brand has so much power that I think, which takes me to another totally random tangent that I keep thinking of, which is FSD in China, CyberCab in China is going to be the most baller way to pull up to any event. So I think that's a reason people aren't thinking about. It's like, Tesla does look cooler. It does feel cooler. Your Waymo looks so lame once you get in the Cybercab that like you're not going to want to be pulling up to somebody's house in a Waymo. It's going to be embarrassing.
But most like in ARK Invest said this, a bunch of others have done this analysis, and I think they're saying that autonomy in China is not going to be a moneymaker.
Really?
The cost of the autonomous vehicles there now, like, they have their version of the Waymos, like Baidu's, equivalent size as Waymo here, and they're like cheap. So you running a robotaxi business there is not going to be as
but you could say that they build cheap EVs and Tesla shouldn't have a business there anyway, but they've crushed it. So that Tesla's been managing to just crush it in China for years, and it's a huge part of their business. So I think that's a big question mark, is do they just stay the vehicle company or not? My money's on Tesla keeps crushing it, and their Robotaxi in China, where there's triple the amount of people, no one cares about hating Elon Musk because of political news, is going to be a way bigger bit. Like, we shouldn't even be focused on FSD in Austin. Probably we should be focused on FSD in like Shenzhen. Like, is that going to hit? Because that would be crazy. So I'm not counting on it, but part of me is like in the back pocket, like, why isn't this could be big? Like,
I think it's going to happen. But boy, I love talking to you, Gali. You make me keep changing my mind all the time.
No, it's a lot of fun.
I like the way you think. Yeah. So why isn't? I mean, it is. So first of all, FSD is existing in China. They're about to get the full version of FSD approved. I think that's going to happen. I think China is still very pro Tesla. The question is, does China need Tesla more than Tesla needs China? And right now, I think the answer is still that China needs Tesla. And then now that they've done the EVs, look what Tesla, by partnering with Tesla, allowing for the very first time Tesla, a US company, owning it 100% without being a joint venture, they succeeded because it created the entire supply chain. All these companies, thousands of companies formed, a lot of EV companies. And then that allowed them to go global. That plan that they did worked perfectly. Like, everybody goes, one day they'll kick Tesla out. Yeah, they might. It might even be now if it was just EV. But now that Tesla does autonomy and the Cybercab, they want their EV companies to be able to follow what 4 of them are following exactly what Tesla's doing in neural nets and vision only. And then now they're going to follow them for the Cybercab. Like, how do you unbox model? So Tesla forges forward. These other companies learn, they copy it, and then they build an industry out of it, and then they all succeed, right? So I think China still needs Tesla more than that. Do you agree with that?
Totally. But also, I like what you said that at any day it could go away. Like, we just got to be prepared for that. Like, it's just uncharted waters, you know? But I do think that Tesla and Elon deserve a lot of credit for navigating that geopolitical thing, because no other car company's ever done that. So, like, GM and Ford were trying to figure out something like that for years and couldn't pull it off. So, you know, that's a big underrated thing when you're investing in Tesla, is your CEO's ability to navigate geopolitical situations is actually super important.
Yeah, I mean, everybody wants a piece of Elon, and he can shake everybody's hand, every country. So, uh, Megapacks, mega factories. I was predicting that there should be at least another Megapack factory outside of the Houston one that was announced. There should be another one, and that every country would need to have a mega factory. Why do you think that they've taken their time? Because it doesn't cost them a lot of money. It doesn't take them a lot of time. It takes them like 9 months to stand up a. They take an old warehouse, any warehouse. They just gut it because it needs to be empty, and then that's it. And then they 800 9 million $900 million to get one of these up, and then it starts producing billions of dollars. Why haven't they done more of this?
I think the short answer is 'cause it's more complicated to stand up the factory than we think. Maybe the supply chain, or I don't actually know. But I mean, I was kind of thinking the same thing when they were just in Lathrop, but then they opened the Shanghai one. That's been ramping. Then they announced another one in the US that's ramping. So if they're building two factories at once, I'm going to give them a pass and say they're expanding like crazy on that business, because that is, we've seen very strong execution. I believe it's more than 25% of Tesla's gross profit is like energy now. So, you know, and with the current factories online, I think we could double or triple revenue without a new factory. So let's ramp these up. And all of a sudden this is a big needle mover for, I think, growth accelerating next year for Tesla, because this year is going to be a bit of a down, like 91 billion in revenue, down from like 98 billion. But I think next year we start to kind of resume growth again, as you have demand pick up for the cars, Robotaxi layers in, semi layers in, energy layers in. It's going to be accelerating Tesla's growth. But I mean, they should announce a new factory soon. I'm down for that. But I'm also like, you know, they're doing two new ones at once. I'll give them that.
Yeah, maybe once they complete one, then they'll keep doing two, and then eventually they'll do three at the same time. But right now, it's still just let's get one done, and then we'll announce the second one. Okay. Love the nuance. Again, I ask a lot of these questions to a lot of people, and you're giving me the best answers I've heard so far. Give me a little gold star for you, dude.
Thank you.
So you seem to also know Elon's mind a little bit better, or his business thinking and all that. So, what do you think he's thinking today? Like, I know he said chips, chips, chips. Obviously, Optimus. What's your sense of what his biggest challenges are right now, or how he's navigating through all this?
Well, one thing I'm curious on is what's the story they tell for the SpaceX IPO? Like, what are they going to tell us, that they're going to build data centers in space and like show us this crazy vision for that? I think that might be something they're working on right now, which is going to be mind blowing once we see it. But if they IPO, they kind of got to open the kimono, show us all the financials, tell us their big vision. So that's going to be super exciting. So I got to imagine that that's a big point of work right now. Not only how we IPO, but how we also launch this data center in space business. Like, do we just buy StarCloud, or that would be a crazy move? But I don't know. Like, you know, I'm guessing they're scheming right now on like this data centers in space essentially business.
That makes sense. Yeah. So you think that's his next big thing? If the IPO is in 6 months, which is Ron Barron said this, billionaire investor Ron Barron, he has inside knowledge of what's going on. But he joked and said that June 28th is Elon's birthday. And so it's very likely, and then July 4th, of course, is America's birthday, 250th. So it's like a good timing for them to do right? American company going to the moon.
I feel like it would be epic. It could potentially launch an entire bull market, I've been thinking, just because a lot of the calls I've been having with like private founders and, you know, startup companies and stuff, I'm like, you guys should be IPOing. like work on your IPO now, because SpaceX is going to IPO. It's going to we've had years of basically no one IPOing, like very
Yeah.
few.
Well, all the AI companies are going to IPO next year.
Yeah, AI is going to be hot. SpaceX is going to be hot. I think it's going to be a bull market, and people are going to be thinking about the future of AIs adding so much value, technologies coming to solve all these problems, to change all these industries. Now we're going to space with AI. We're going to expand into space and stay there. And that's going to be a new growth avenue for the global GDP and economy that's unlimited. Like you have Jensen Huang talking about 500 trillion in global GDP, up from 100 trillion now. So there could be like, everyone's kind of scared. We've seen all these bubbles. We saw the housing crash. Everything's always a bubble. But maybe it's time to be like, that pendulum could fully swing back into like 2000 level euphoria of like, this is bigger than the internet. Like we're going to space. So
what do you know about 2000 level euphoria? You weren't even born.
Nah, but I don't know. I don't feel like, yeah. That's my prediction, though. I think it's going to cause a lot of excitement.
I love it. Good prediction. I think I came up with a name for you. Instead of Hyperchange, you got to go Plaid, dude. Plaid change or something like that.
Oh, Plaid change. Nah.
Got to go Plaid.
Diaper change. That's what the people call it.
I never even thought of that. Is that your friends calling it?
I don't know. Some of the trolls online have called me that, and I kind of love it.
I love it. That's it. It's actually pretty brilliant.
Tesla stock's at a new high. We need a diaper change.
They just took a dump. Oh, brother. Okay, we haven't talked to Optimus. What's your thoughts on that? Are you pessimistic that it's going to happen anytime soon? Is it going to be slow? Are you excited for it in 2026? Yeah, I gave you that gift.
No, this is my limited edition one, Herbert. You gave me the non-limited edition one.
Oh, the
it's in the junk
one
pile.
It's the junk pile.
No,
I gave you that gift. Okay. And then you put mine in the junk pile. You put that in on the shelf.
No. Well, Optimus, I don't know. I feel like we saw that video of Optimus running, which was crazy and got everyone super excited. I don't know. I feel like Optimus is it's going to be really hard to make it useful. Like even like Figure, I feel like that there was a tweet from the Figure CEO that made it seem like his thing was going hard. I don't know. I feel like Optimus is going to be huge, but I'm kind of like not holding my breath for it right now. But I think the next phase of Optimus is they're going to show it being useful in the Tesla factory. And that will be the initial wedge of use cases that Optimus is good at that then slowly grow. And so kind of waiting for that moment. But I mean, Optimus is real. Like it's not like kind of a sci-fi, maybe Google-esque project. Like Tesla has its smartest engineers and this whole like team in Palo Alto working on this with like, that's a very serious, very, very serious, almost startup within Tesla. So, it's going to be big. I still think Optimus is going to be big. The data centers in space has definitely taken some shine away from Optimus just for now, but I think that's only temporary.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you that I'm not expecting to have like a million Optimuses next year. However, I think that that they can be useful now. I think that they can do pick and place, like you said. I think they will easily make 1,000 because you need to have 1,000 or 5,000 in order to get the data, and then you need this Cortex 2 in order to be able to use that data to then get you to that next level of true intelligence to be able to do multiple different tasks. But there's enough tasks that they can do now. So I think that you'll see maybe 1 to 5,000 robots. You know how he initially said 5 to 10,000 this year didn't happen? I think 5 to 10,000 next year is guaranteed. So now if you see sometime next year, call it 1,000 robots doing pick and place around Tesla's factory, that could be enough to wake up the world a bit. Like 1,000 robots, not just 5 or 10 like we've seen so far, but like 1,000 robots. Like, you're just filming them nonstop, all of them working, and they're doing real jobs.
It's going to be big. And I think that, why are they building a production line? Like they've been talking about this V3 version for a long time. I think, it could be very useful for some tasks. Like that's what it seems like they're planning on from my perspective. It's like, why would you be building this production line if it wasn't, we weren't planning on using them for something, because they're planning on building this a little bit bigger production line. So I'm kind of excited for that. I think that will wake people up. Even
Hmm.
seeing like 10 of the robots together is kind of weird. So if we get to start seeing more than that and they're doing stuff, I think it's going to be, yeah,
Right. A
it's
production
going to get
line
people going.
is another thing, isn't it? It's not just, I mean, it's not just these people on the bench, cobbling it together, making things, but actually a real production line
It's
that
going to
could
look
wake
like
people up
Black
too.
Mirror,
Yeah.
be a little bit
All right. So
scary.
what are you up to these days? So you've got you told me that you're back to your Hyperchange YouTube channel. You're creating more content. You got your VC firm. You're creating a tea brand. Can you tell us a little bit of what you're focused on these days?
Yeah. Well, I am working on my tea brand, but that's kind of a fun side project. But there's my logo. I got
It's called
stickers already.
Galileo Tea.
Yeah.
Spill the tea.
And Galileo tea. So we're gonna launch like herbal, really just high-end herbal teas in compostable bags. Got a good bedtime tea coming. But I guess what maybe people will find more exciting is I'm working on a book. This is my
Yes.
big new
Tell us
scheme,
about that.
is
That's right.
basically to write a book from what's happened over the past 13 years of being a Tesla investor and just seeing the roller coaster, all the stories I have of like going to the factory, doing this, bumping into Herbert.
Yeah,
There's
that
just
should make it on your book.
like, because and it hit me at the shareholder meeting when I was there, and it was like, Elon's reelected, like it's a whole new book for Tesla. He literally says
Yeah.
that,
Yes.
and it just hit me of like,
You need to write that
now
book
everyone's
too.
hating on Tesla because Elon's so successful and they're going to be the world's largest company, like with
Yeah.
this pay package. The news is assuming he's going to be the world's richest person and take Tesla to be the world's largest company. But when I first invested in Tesla, it's like, woo, rewind. It was like
Mhm.
this electric car company that was super dumb idea that all the smart Wall Street people thought was super dumb and obviously going to
Mhm.
fail. And it was that like they were never going to make money. The electric car is never going to work. And then and then I'm just sitting there and I feel like I was so close to it. I like forgot how far we
Mhm.
came. And I was like,
Yeah.
wait, like the Model Y was the best selling car in the world. Like
Yeah.
Tesla's been profitable for 26 quarters straight. Like
Mhm.
this investment changed my life. It was, I went
Mhm.
all in on Tesla stock, put every dollar I had into it, and
Mhm.
it's still my number one stock. And it's like been an incredible success story, American success story. And so I feel like not enough people like know the story about Tesla. And I feel like the more important Tesla gets, the more important that like founding years kind of story is. And I feel like I have such a funny perspective of it. Like I almost want to write it down so I remember it.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it's one of the greatest financial case studies of all time.
Mhm.
Going into an industry with no margin where no one thinks you can make money, succeeding, going vertical
Mhm.
integration a la Henry Ford again. I mean, they're going to be studying this forever.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to like document my front row seat of the roller coaster. And I'm really, really excited about the book project because I feel like it's summing up like 12 years or 13 years of being an investor. And it's kind of like giving back to the community, like everyone's kind of a part of the book in some way. So
Wow. I love
I'm
it.
really
So
excited
first of
about
all,
it.
yeah, you have a front row seat. You interviewed Elon. You were one of the very early people that was supporting him. Elon asked you to be to join in on the retail on the earnings call. You piped in and talked to him. You again met him. Yeah, so this is going to be a great book. You a good remembering what happened in the past, but also what's where we are today and what's going to happen. You know Elon really well too, and yeah, shocked that you're going to put an entire chapter about me. I mean, that's going to be great. I'm looking forward to that
No.
one.
Yeah.
Herbert,
Meeting that's
chapter
like
one
part 3 of the book, meeting Herbert. Like
changed my life.
it was an overcast day in San Luis
Seattle
Obispo, and the In-N-Out parking lot just had a special shine.
with the least famous cyberball.
At least, yeah, I'm sitting at lunch and the mood is low because I'm surrounded by the least famous cyber bull. Like, he's begging me to do his podcast, and I feel like I have to say yes.
Well, I'm glad that you said yes. I mean, I love talking to you. Again, you really do bring a lot of nuance, and the thing is, because you really do think, sit there and think. You give it a lot of thought about the future and where we're headed. So that was fun. Yeah, your book is going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. You gave yourself a deadline, right? January. When am I going to be able to? I shouldn't have to buy this.
I
You should
mean,
give me a gift. You should
yeah, I'm
give it
gonna
to me
give you
as
a
a
gift.
gift.
Don't worry, don't worry. In a couple
I gave
months,
you.
I think it'll be ready in a couple months, like for
I'll
people to
buy it.
buy it.
I'll promote you if it's good.
If it's good, it'll be good.
I got to read it. You said you can give me like advanced copy so I can like freaking edit the hell out
Make
of it.
sure you look good in the story.
Yeah. The most famous.
Yeah.
Most. Love it. Thank you so much, Gali. That was fun.
Thank you a lot. Or thanks a lot,
Appreciate
Herbert. I always have a blast scheming, so I'm glad I gotta join.
Thanks. See you soon. So follow Gali. Check out his YouTube channel at Hyperchange. Great name. Great shows. And then HyperGuap. Check them out. Do you have a website?
HyperGuap.com.
HyperGuap.com. And then also Galileo T.
Galileo T.
When can people buy that?
That's actually my first production run is December 23rd of putting my herbs into the bag.
Remember whose customer number was 0?
Yeah, Herbert.
Number 1.
Herbert.
I already I'll buy the tea. Okay. And then your book will come in maybe hopefully January, February. Thanks everybody. Appreciate you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Herbert.
I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.